Oh, we just picked the worst time to record this podcast. Listen to all that construction. It never stops.
We're not doing one of those this week. Come on.
What are you talking about? I can barely hear you.
I'm not putting in all the audio. Confuse everybody.
But it's local construction.
It's never done.
Days rolling by like local construction. I'm watching the tenements increase by increments. Work on it, work at it, work, but it's never done. No. Fix the car, fix the house, fix the flaws in myself. It's never done. No, it's never done. It's never done.
Hello and welcome to Sadie Hawkins Pod. It's been so long since we've done one of these. We keep beating our record for the longest time between episodes. How do we start the show?
Local construction.
No,
top of the show business.
Top of the show business. So anyway, welcome to Sadie Hawkins Pod. Last week's opening bit was so involved in terms of like trying to get all the sound effects with the beach and the spring break and college kids, and then it got so weird, and I was re-listening to it a day or two ago, just the opening bit. Mm-hmm. I was on YouTube after I upload the episode to YouTube. I listened back to make sure there's no mistake, and I was like, yeah, this is our weirdest opening ever, because it even continues into the show. And I'm like, I really hope no new listeners judges us off of that.
Yeah. I wanted to keep it up the whole time, and Danny was like, no.
It would have been a bit much. So anyway, yeah, welcome back to Sadie Hawkins Pod. We hope everyone's doing well out there, doing safe. We all know what's going on, and like I choose to talk about it as little as possible, because it just gives some sort of reprieve from all the discussion. So just hope everyone is being safe. And this week we're talking about local construction.
Which has not slowed down, because it's never done.
It's never done. Well, some states and cities have slowed down construction.
True.
But some other ones have not.
Yeah.
My dad works in construction, and he was like... And where he lives, they're back in Massachusetts, and he's like, well, the city almost shut down construction, but then some other smaller towns did, and other towns did not. And, Massachusetts, it's like, you can easily go between towns. So all these different towns, that's where all their clients are. So it's crazy times. Talking about the thing I just said we won't talk about too much. So we're talking about local construction this week because... we'll get to top of the show business. We'll get to top of the show business. But, we're talking about local construction this week because, and I've said this a number of different weeks in the past, but we picked a couple songs here and there since we started the podcast that Jessica doesn't really like. And we've never really done a song that I flat out don't like.
Yeah.
Like at the best, we've just done songs that maybe I don't care about or listen to too much, but then I can't really say anything bad about them because I'm like, well, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about this song. And now that I'm digging into it, I like it a lot more than I ever liked it before. Well, no, Local Construction is a song that I don't care for. So I'm trying to...
I'm going to change your mind.
Yeah, are you?
I am.
Okay, you have a whole thing there? Is it all about the metaphor, how we're fixing ourselves and the work's never done?
That's right there. Oh my gosh. Please tell me there's no Genius annotations this week, because I can't. I
didn't
just
look.
can't. It's literally right there. Like the metaphor is so surface level. I refuse to even address it. It's in the lyrics.
Well, we do have top of the show business, so we'll get into that in a minute. We have some voicemails from David Park.
Wow, okay, lots of stuff, and I only got 3 minutes. It's David from Jimmy Pod. I'm calling with my broken arm. Finally catching up on the pod. Jess is right. This is an amazing episode with all the Blink-182 talk. Also, it's only been mentioned once on the show, but I think you could mention more how Matt Thiessen doesn't play with a guitar pick, and it drives me absolutely insane. In an absolutely, nonchalant way. Like, I actually don't really care. Also, love the song parody thing. Not why I'm calling. Oh, got a number wrong the first time I called and got Garrett's voicemail, so I guess I could have left him all of this. And, damn, there was one other thing about this episode. I don't know what it was, and I was going to call about it. I guess this is my calling card now. I always forget why I call. All right, bye.
So he definitely got it under 3 minutes. That was only 51 seconds. But yeah, so we've been talking.
Keeping it snappy.
Yeah, keeping it snappy. David from Jimmy Eat Pod, he just broke his arm teaching his son, or skateboarding with his son. I don't know if he was teaching him at the time. But yeah, he broke his arm, which stinks. Because I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'm trying to produce a Bandcamp thing with multiple different artists. Let me just say, if you're an artist out there, if you're a musician, please contact me. I don't want to say anything else about it. It's super secret. But I'm trying to produce a Bandcamp compilation thing. And I was like, oh, David will be able to do something. Like, no, he broke his arm. I was like, oh, yeah. And I knew he broke his arm, but it didn't connect in my head that means you can't play guitar.
Yeah.
Hey, that guy from Authority Zero plays guitar, and he's literally missing an arm. He has the extension thing on his hand. Come on. What's the problem? Yeah, so, and speaking of strumming guitar, Matt Thiessen doesn't use a guitar pick, something I never noticed. And I've seen Relient K dozens of times, especially in the early days, and I never noticed that he didn't. He just uses his fingers, I guess. We were talking about how we need to put together a question file because we don't actively want to pursue an interview with anyone from the band. But if we're ever put in that position, we want good questions, and that would be a good question. What's the deal with your strumming hand? Someone else had just recently noticed that too when I posted. It often comes back to that Detroit concert.
Right.
Oh, that's some more top of the show business I'll mention, but that Detroit concert that has Steven on drums. It's like one of the only big pieces of footage of Steven drumming in 2000. Anytime I post footage from that concert, David or someone else would be like, he's not using a pick. But then like that concert you were at that's online, the Hard Rock in Orlando from he's not using a pick there either. Crazy. Anyway, that Detroit concert from 2000 with Steven on drums, I was annoyed for a number of reasons. They've got thousands of views on those videos, so I'm sorry, but what I did was I use a YouTube Ripper, then I can join the two parts of it together, because I guess when they uploaded it, maybe there was like that limit of that like 15-minute YouTube limit used to exist like 10 years ago. Yeah. But this was uploaded in 2013, so I don't think that would have existed. YouTube has had lots of different weird, stupid rules at different times. Like you couldn't upload more than 15 minutes 10 years ago.
I know then 20 was the limit for a while.
Right. Then they went up to 10 hours, which is why you get all those 10-hour loop videos. But then for a while, like you couldn't upload more than 15 unless you were verified. Because like, I guess that was their way of trying to combat piracy on YouTube, was like you have to get yourself verified. And anyone could verify, like you just had to sign up with a phone number. It's like, oh, well, obviously media pirates don't have phones. Point is, so I took the Detroit concert, put it back together in one piece, and I fixed the stereo. Because anytime you try to watch that Detroit YouTube video, it's all in the left channel. So I fixed the stereo. So everyone continued to support Joe Keogh's original Detroit videos from 2000. Like them, give them the views, but also check out mine. It's on a pirate YouTube channel I have called Punk Rock Forever.
Nice.
Yeah, where I upload like albums that aren't on streaming. It's for me, but I'm like, if anyone else gets benefits out of this, they can listen too. Anyway, what else did David say before? He's called back with a second voicemail.
Oh, good.
Oh, and he said he called the wrong number at first.
Yeah.
And got
Garrett.
That's news to me. I wonder if that's the guy at. Because our voicemail is 402-95 Sadie, and I used to get the area code wrong because that first 402 is very reminiscent of a very famous highway here in Los Angeles. Right. So I was constantly saying the highway name, but it is 402. I wonder if David, being from Los Angeles, made the same mistake that I was making.
Perhaps.
Well, here's the rest of what
David called back and let us know.
Well, he did call back a little bit later, and this is what he had to say.
Hey, so it's David again, and I remember this is me pushing a cart at Costco. during the pandemic, so that's cool. So I did call a little early because then there was another shout out about Jimmy Eat World, which yes, I'm super into. Emo, the talk about emo, in like a snooty way, super on brand for me. Alright. Anyway, that's it. Bye.
I think last week or the week before I talked something about emo.
Yeah.
And
I feel like it's most weeks.
Yeah.
You bring it up in some way.
I don't know if this has changed. So recently I was on a roundtable episode of This Might Be a Podcast, and it hasn't come out yet. But someone mentioned allmusic.com and how that's how they discovered They Might Be Giants, or something to that effect. If I'm getting that wrong, I apologize. But I just said, I burst in, I was like, my favorite thing about allmusic.com, and I too discovered bands and would like look things up there, but they refuse to acknowledge emo past the first and second generation of emo.
Oh, wow.
For the longest time, like, they would not, and I don't know if this is still the case, I assume it is, but they would not acknowledge emo past, like, The Promise Ring and Jimmy Eat World. Like, that was it. That's when emo ended, basically. And, like, any of these other bands that get labeled as emo, like My Chemical Romance, or, like, these sort of, like, pop-punk bands with emo attributes, they will not call those emo on allmusic.com. And my point was, but I didn't bring that up on This Might Be a Podcast. I brought up the fact that allmusic.com refused it. Now, how they feel about emo is totally cool with me, but this one's stupid. Allmusic.com refuses to acknowledge the term pop punk. They will only allow it to exist as the term punk pop. Any band you call pop punk, AllMusic calls them punk pop. It's like feels like a really antiquated, like, early thing. Like, when it feels like someone who was really into punk and then Green Day started, and they're like, this is more like punk pop. And then that was All Rovi or All Music or whoever their parent company is now. And it was like, this is the only term for pop mixed with punk. Anyway, emo elitism. It's a good thing. So, and let me just double check if we had any, like, emails or anything. I don't think so. Oh, we did upload a new book club episode.
Yes.
So please check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
We're going to make the first book club episode free soon, especially to give more free content to people. We had that teaser version of it up on the main feed, but the whole episode will become free in the next week or two. But not the whole thing. You got to pay for it if you want to be there with us as we read through complex infrastructure known as the female mind, according to Reliant K. Then you have to subscribe to our Patreon.
Yes. And we'll continue to upload those little teases of each one.
Patreon.com/Sadie Hawkins Pod.
You really had to think about that one.
I almost said Jimmy Eat Pod because it was still in my head. So anyway, yeah, so let's get into Local Construction, one of my least favorite Reliant K songs. It's not that I even hate it. There might be a song I flat out hate. I don't get any enjoyment out of this song. It's not like I have a derision to it that you have along the lines of Deathbed.
I'm surprised you don't care for this song because it feels like it almost could be a They Might Be Giants song.
I do not understand.
You don't understand? I mean, not like, I guess not musically, but I don't know, something about it. They have like...
Well, they have their like, they literally just like get a noun and then like, we're going to write a song around this noun or this word.
Yeah,
because that's why they have thousands of songs. That's why they release a song a day, project in previous years.
This could be like a Roy G. Biv or something like that, or I don't know. What's another They Might Be Giant song? I saw them live with you in New York. I don't remember their songs, though. Oh, we're going to be guests, both of us.
On
They Might Be
Dr.
a Podcast.
Worm.
Yeah.
Is a
I
song.
know Dr. Worm.
Because Reliant K has covered it. Hello. And Africa. That's another big They Might Be Giant song that Reliant K has covered.
Like the Toto song?
Yeah, I'm joking.
I was like... too. It's too.
I
early
mean, I
for
guess
this to me.
I suppose. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, but I suppose. I mean, I guess because there's like a little story. It's a fun little thing, and their
Yeah.
lyrics are often very high concept.
Yeah.
I suppose this is, a lot of Relient K songs are also high concept. I don't know. It's mainly like the beat and the music that I don't care for. Like, it's so funny because there's only a couple of songs on Collapsible Lung that I'm like, this song sucks. You know what I mean? Like, the other ones are like, this song is not a good Relient K song, but I can enjoy it as like a pop song. Like, this is good grocery store music when I listen to Collapsible Lung. But for some reason, Local Construction
Local Construction is
not
far
a song.
superior to any song on Collapsible Lung.
I know, objectively, yes. But for me, I don't know what to tell you.
I love the brassy opening piano and that like Civil War drummer marching into battle sound that they've got going on at the beginning of this song. Like, there's just so much going on in this song. There's so many layers. And this is like one of those songs off Air for Free that I would point to and be like, look, this is the next clear logical step after Forget Not Slow Down. Like, this is that happy, cheery breath of fresh air next album that comes after that, but with still all these layers.
Right. Like a Shrek onion or something. What am I saying?
I
Like
don't know.
Like the onion dialogue from Shrek. That's if it's got all these layers, it's like an onion.
I'm pretty sure that was a thing before Shrek.
Yeah, but it's the line of dialogue from Shrek. He's like, I got layers. It's like an onion, but onions stink. Welcome to our Shrek podcast. We should go minute by minute through Shrek.
Oh gosh, no. Oh, a few weeks ago during Can't Complain, we were talking about how that's the only song where they mention a dog because they mention cats like all the time in songs Relient K do, particularly on Air for Free. And this is another song where it mentions the cat.
cats.
But I think it's the tool, the construction tool.
Yeah, the construction
It
equipment.
still counts.
Right.
This is like one of my favorite Relient K songs. I love this album.
I'm giving you a Nancy Pelosi side clap.
And I mentioned this before, I think during Bummin', that I love this song because it just paints such a strong picture in my mind. I feel like this and the way this opens the vinyl, because they resequence the album for the vinyl. So if you listen to the vinyl versus the CD or streaming anywhere, they switch up the lineup. And all of side A of the vinyl just tells this little story, and I feel like I'm in an animated world like all of the other reindeer or the busy world of Richard Scarry or something like that. And there's something very beautiful and safe about that aesthetic, like the picture that's painted in my mind of this like very bright, vibrant, cartoonish world that's just so ideal.
That's sweet. I like that. Look, it's mostly just it's just the rhythm of the song. Unlike Gloria Stefan, the rhythm didn't get me. And particularly in the middle part when there's that, like it gets a little faster. Mm-hmm. Something about that beat, and without being a proper musicologist, is it like with the beat that's emphasized, sorry, I'm trying not to fix the car, fix the like that beat. Something about that. It's not a punk beat, and it's not like everything has to be a punk beat, but it's just something about that rhythm I just don't enjoy. But I do totally understand, and also I feel like the message of the song is so on the nose that it doesn't like connect with me. But I love your interpretation that it's like a busy little world. If this was, and it does sound like it's that theatrical Thiessen thing. Like this does sound like the opening of a musical.
Yeah.
This does sound like you like a stage musical opens up, and like there's like people in those cars that are like around their shoulders and they're walking.
Exactly. It's like a little school play.
It's like, yeah.
That's another thing I was going to point out was that it's theatrical Thiessen. In the past, you've liked theatrical Thiessen, and this is the first time you're like, I don't really like theatrical Thiessen.
But maybe in the same way that I don't acknowledge most Collapsible Lung songs as good Relient K songs, because they're not, but I'll acknowledge them as good pop songs, I can acknowledge this as a good musical song, but I don't like it as a Relient K song.
Fair.
This to me, you're gonna hate me for this, but this to me just feels like something like a collapsible lung Venn diagram.
There isn't anything this layered on Collapsible Lung, though. I mean, other than just like layers of, I don't know,
Right.
distortion and auto-tune and...
It also took me a long time to wrap my head around the metaphor of the song. That's obvious. It's like local construction. I get it. It's about we're all fixing the flaws in ourselves. We're all constantly growing as people. We're all constantly evolving, and we're all constantly doing better in our lives and building things. And I get it. I get the simile, the metaphor. I understand that. But the term local construction, when I first heard it, I'm like, that sounds like such a weird term, because like I know it's a term that exists outside of this Relient K song, but it's just such a strange term because all construction is local. You know what I mean? Like you don't concern yourself with construction happening many states over. The only construction you care about is what's happening where you are, and therefore it is local construction. It's like, what do they call Chinese food in China?
This is like... Danny really hates the book because of the title. Don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff.
Yeah. It sounds like sentence fragments.
It's just like this, where you're like, but all construction is local construction.
I understand. Yeah, I always hated that title. It just sounds like sentence fragments. It sounds like they said it when they were high, and they're like, this makes sense. Certain things just don't make... Certain things make sense, like... They hit your ear and you're like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But then you think about them too much. It's like if you say the same word 200 times, it starts to lose meaning. Some phrases and words are like that for me. Like, we were just watching the ZZ Top documentary, and they were like, where'd you get the name ZZ Top? And they were like, we could tell you 4 different stories, but they'd all be lies. And then I was like, yeah, the phrase ZZ Top is really random and weird. It's meaningless. We all accept it because it's all a part of our lives, and like we've heard of the band ZZ Top. But just give you the phrase ZZ Top in a vacuum, and you're like, what does that mean? That means nothing. So to me, it's the same similar thing, like local construction. I'm like, oh, I guess it's construction that's local, but all construction's local.
Well,
and I guess that the thing is, what's more local than fixing yourself? That's the local part in the simile and the metaphor of the song. It's like you're fixing the house, you're fixing the car, you're fixing the boat, you're fixing whatever you're fixing, but then you're fixing the flaws in yourself. So I understand that.
Well, this song is about as superficial as you feel it is, Danny. I came across an interview with Hoops and Thiessen for Chorus.fm, and we'll revisit this for sure because they talk about a lot of songs off air for free. And in fact, they talk in the same question. The interviewer states that their like 2 favorite songs off the album are Man and Local Construction. Mm-hmm. And Thiessen just kind of verifies what I've always felt about the song Man, and we'll get more into that when we get into that, but he was basically like stating that it is the follow-up song to This Is the End if you want it.
Okay.
Anyways, we'll get into that when we do Man.
Okay.
But this is what Thiessen had to say about local construction. We live in Nashville. I like to get around in Nashville. I like to exercise. I'll go run around, and one place I like to go is called Love Circle. It's this hill you can climb, usually covered in trash, but you can look out and see the entire city and the skyline. Depending on what time of day, you can see the sunrise. There's so many cranes out there. You can count them all, and it's fun. Sometimes I get 14, sometimes I'm at 22. You can spot all these cranes making all the construction. It dies down, it gets bigger, and then it gets smaller. But anyways, construction as a metaphor, everybody experiences it. It affects your life, and then that's what you do in your own life. There was a parallel to making the album, and just being a good guy takes work. Seeing this construction all the time and all these people working, sometimes I feel bad I'm not out there doing something harder, like jackhammering concrete. I don't want to do that, but I'm glad people do it for us. Sometimes they put up huge buildings that block the view, but the building therefore becomes the view, and then the skyline keeps growing. It's weird to see it change from season to season. So Nashville is just this flurry of construction.
Yeah, that's nice. I totally understand that. It's look, I'm not criticizing other than the term local. The only thing I'm criticizing about the song lyrically and message wise is just the term local construction, which felt weird to me. It felt weird on my lips. Everything else, the message and all that, and that explanation, that's great. I really like that, and I think this is nice poetry. I'm just not crazy about the beat of the song or the rhythm. I'll try for you.
It's okay.
I'll try for you to like this song more. I absolutely 100% agree, and have had the same thought. So in that way, I'm on board with this idea that when you live in a place, there's like constantly scaffolds around. Like, can we just not enjoy everything like done for one day? Like, do I need to, like, on my route, there's got to be another, road being dug up. There on my walk, there's got to be more scaffolding closing off this sidewalk. Like, there's got to, can't we just rest for a minute and just enjoy everything that's around? You know what I mean? Like, there's so much construction happening in downtown Hollywood right now with all these like new skyscrapers they're putting up, and like they're tearing down. They're eventually going to tear down Amoeba's current location and move it up the street. It's like, can we just enjoy everything being around? Do we have to constantly be driving around all of these construction sites? Like, can we just give it a rest for 1 minute? Yeah. So I absolutely get that. I absolutely understand that terminology. In fact, Genius annotation on this line says, "We all hate local construction because it never seems to end." Matt takes this into an analogy, saying that days just keep flying by while he remains the same messed up human as he was the day before. I guess. Doesn't really seem to be the point he just read that you just read there.
Yeah.
I don't think either. Yeah, you know what? Also, this fits into a flight of a suite. This fits into I was thinking flight like a beer, like a flight of beer or wine. Right. But no, suite would be the better terminology. This is like a suite of a certain theme that Matt Thiessen always comes to about bettering yourself. And we've seen that roller coaster as we kind of skip back and forth between the Relient K timeline and particularly, that like sort of like overly criticizing himself about trying to make himself a better person and trying to like improve, the way he looked at local construction on those first 3 or 4 albums or so, definitely the first 3 albums, and maybe and then there's suddenly The Lining is Silver that we discovered, where it was like, well, this is where he stopped criticizing himself for falling short of his like spiritual and personal expectations, and he's just going to keep trying. He's the there's a silver lining in himself that no matter how many times his local construction fails, he'll keep going. And now you kind of have these newer set of songs in that same suite of personal improvement, where he's not singing about the lining being silver, but he's also not necessarily singing about I messed up as a person, I've failed or whatever. He's just saying improving yourself is never done. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I love it.
So this song's fine. Look, I was trying to do a nice thing by complaining about a Relient K song because it's something that I don't do a lot. But now you are loosening me up to the song. I don't, I don't know, like, if I'm going to put this on at a party. Because like I said, it's mostly just the beat and the sort of music of it, and it is nice and layered. There's obviously a lot of nice like layered production in this, but it's just like, sure, I can there's all kinds of music out there that I can appreciate. A lot of work must have gone into this, but that doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy the music.
I can accept that.
I still have the Genius page up, and literally every line except for that talking part towards the end has a Genius annotation. Every single line. The only thing that doesn't is I'll forget my manners. This headache's so stammering. This jackhammer's clamoring on.
Oh, I can really relate to that right now.
Jessica's holding her eye. She's had a headache.
Oh, migraine for the past 2 days. Okay. So, are you ready to move on to the deep dive? Because the lyrics are pretty... They're very face value.
Yeah.
It's all on the surface, so...
Fix the car, fix the house, fix the flaws in myself. It's never done. Like local construction.
Well, back in 2007, Relient K and Switchfoot did a benefit tour for Habitat for Humanity called the Appetite for Construction Tour, which popped up quite a few times in this week's search.
I've heard of that. I don't think we saw it.
I don't think we saw it, but yeah. And they kicked off quite a few shows in the Looking for America tour with local construction.
I definitely know that because there's not a lot on YouTube and nothing on SoundCloud for this song, but there are a bunch of separated YouTube videos because it was the opening track at a lot of the shows.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was for our show or not.
I'll look it up.
Danny just reached for his phone.
So you keep talking while I look that up.
Well, that's good because I have a review. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of reviews. There's a ton of album reviews, so I picked 2 this week, but they're both a little lengthy, so we might just do one.
Okay.
And I left a lot of them so that as we continue to go through Air for Free, I can come back to them later. So this comes from SpectrumCulture.com.
Before you do that, they did not open our show in Los Angeles at the Palladium with local construction. I don't see that I don't even see that they played it. They opened with High of 75.
That's what I thought. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure they opened with A Favorite.
How much we read through the set list in some other episode, but let's actually look at how much Air for Free, the album they played. They played Bummin'. They played Air for Free.
I remember that.
They played Mountaintop.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
They played Heartache. It's Heartache's Air for Free, right?
Yes.
They played... I think that's it. Because Look On Up is not Air for Free, but that is like Air for Free era. So that's it. So there's just Heartache, Mountaintop, Bummin', and Air for Free.
I love when you say era because it is the only time you have a Boston accent. It's the only time.
Right.
Except for this one time when we went back to Boston to visit and Danny ordered lobster and accidentally said lobster.
Lobster.
It was so adorable and he got so embarrassed. It was so funny. And then he's like over explaining himself to the waitress where he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like he thought that she might think he was like making fun of
like if you were in France and you were speaking as American, then you started speaking in a French accent. I can't do it right now, but she probably wouldn't have even thought.
No,
she probably wouldn't have even noticed. You know what's even worse is that it was not just like lobster, it was a lobster omelet. We were at a breakfast place and I was like, I'm going to try the lobster omelet.
And I was like, Danny, she totally didn't notice, but he had to go out of his way to like explain and be even more embarrassing.
Right.
It was amazing. So this comes from SpectrumCulture.com, written by Nick Gregorio, August 17th, 2016. Air for Free is worth the purchase for one track alone. They gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Let it be known that no one will ever be able to properly classify Relient K. They've been called Christian rock, pop punk, pop rock,
and the next
punk
MXPX,
rock.
The boys from Canton,
and pop. And they've stretched the boundaries of each and every one of those labels over their shockingly long career, coming up on 20 years. What's damn impressive about the band, now consisting of just vocalist/guitarist Matt Thiessen and guitarist/vocalist Matt Hoops, and some touring/session musicians, is despite the many changes of style and lineup, they never lost what makes them so fun to listen to, their genuine, good-natured heart and sense of humor. Air for Free is by no stretch a perfect album, but dear lordy, is it a good one. And once the last note on the track rings out, you'll feel like $1,000,000. The joyfulness described above comes primarily from the opening 6 tracks. These songs aren't just good, they're flat out wonderful. They're songs that will begin convincing you that if Air for Free keeps this level of quality for the remainder of the record, it could end up one of the best pop albums you'll hear all year. The opening track, Bummin', is a rock song at its core. Reminiscent of the Wallflowers, it's a toe-tapping sing-along head bopper that doesn't take itself seriously nor devalue its lyrical content of, well, the perils of bummin' around. Mrs. Hippopotamuses could be considered a Billy Joel homage with its bouncy piano-driven qualities. It is most certainly an homage to the band's roots in Ohio, as it literally chants O-H-I-O, here we go, brownies, here we go. There's nothing better than knowing where you came from. Cat and Man are radio-ready tracks that are wholly original, whilst capturing the zeitgeist of current American instrument-oriented pop music. That is a mouthful. Soaring hooks with oohs and ahs all over them, beats you can dance to at a wedding, and an overall feeling that life is just the best. These tracks also continue to show off Relient K's range as well. Man could have been written by Sarah Bareilles for all its beauty and fun, for heck's sake. And just
For heck's sake.
And just wait until you get to the title track. With its electric beat, background piano, and quiet, lovely vocal melodies, it's a crime you haven't heard this thing on pop radio yet. Only 5 tracks were mentioned above. That is because out of the opening 6, one stands out as the best. In fact, Local Construction is the best track on air for free. It may be one of the best pop tracks you'll hear all year. Imagine this. Fun has an affair with Sarah Bareilles' kaleidoscope heart, but the love child is adopted and raised by former punks with an appreciation for the semi-technical musicality of Elton John records. That's Local Construction.
This is like the most heartfelt, sincere review I feel like we've ever read, because I'm used to like the really off base, badly thought through reviews, and you're just like giving us this like sincere, well thought out review. I'm like, we've been looking for one. There it is. Yeah. Now we're still looking for one from like the heyday.
Right.
But yeah, that's a really well constructed review.
Based in a 3/4 shuffle beat, the piano front and center, and Thiessen's voice weaving a vocal melody that could be superimposed over the final scene of Sleeping Beauty is only the beginning. The second and third time through the chorus, Relient K leans back on their roots once again and lays down a 3/4 halftime punk drum beat that the production value never allows to become stifling, but makes damn sure you know isn't from just a normal pop song.
This is still Local Construction they're talking about?
This is still Local Construction.
So that's the thing that I don't like.
Yeah.
It's not really a pop punk beat. I don't know if the 3/4 beat is what it feels like to me. But it's there's something about that rhythm that's not like properly. It's just fast. It's fast, but it's not punk.
Local Construction literally features every influence and style Relient K has ever touched on and mashes them together at the atomic level. It's the work of musical madmen, and it is unlike anything you've ever heard. It's an impressive piece of pop music art, and truthfully, Air for Free is worth the purchase for this track alone. And I'll just leave it there because it goes on and on and on after that. Mainly, this reviewer just isn't a fan of sort of the B side of the album per se.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. That's very nice. Well, what was that again?
That was SpectrumCulture.com.
Okay, very good. Really turning me around on this song. No.
He just shrugged and went, nah.
It's just like da 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 da. It's like that's what the beat is with the drum and the guitar. It's like fix the da 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 da. It's almost like a telegram. It's not actually like a punk beat. Like what's a punk beat? Like no, it's like jazz. Like we ain't got no place. I can't fucking. Just bleep that half swear. I can't describe drums unless it's a proper Travis Barker dishwasher.
Oh my gosh, you are doing like major Daddy Derek arms over here.
Oh yeah. Cool Cat's over there talking to his cool new friends. We got the 420 Awards coming at you. If you don't know Daddy Derek, I'm not going to explain right now. Just look him up.
I don't know if that'll get... Look up Derek Savage and Cool Cat. I I bet Cool Cat would like Local Construction. And Air for Free in general with the numerous
Well,
mentions
the
of
next
cats.
Cool Cat project is Cool Cat Flips a House.
True.
So obviously he would like Local Construction. I'm still waiting for Cool Cat versus the Wicked Witch. He's been promising that movie for like almost 5 years, and he keeps putting it off for other Cool Cat and 420 related projects.
So I'm going to save the other review for next time. What do you have over there from your YouTube dive?
Well, there's not a ton. Yeah, because I guess Mountaintop, it seems like with Air for Free, there hasn't been a ton of derivative works, right?
Right.
Like, there was for Bummin. There was enough stuff for Bummin, and there was some stuff for Mountaintop, but there was nothing for God, except Christian Lewis sent us a cover when we asked. And I only found one cover. But before we get into that, I guess we can listen to I guess this might be the first time they played the song.
Oh. Is it the first time they played the song, or is it like 20 people saying this is the first time they played the song?
Maybe. But this was a concert at the Musica in Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
July 27th, 2016. And I looked at this set list. I didn't save it, unfortunately, but they played almost the entire Air for Free album, except for like 3 songs. I don't know what 3 songs they didn't play, but you'll hear at this beginning part where he kind of explains, like, we're going to play the whole new album, and then when we're done doing that, we'll play some hits. Then I looked at the set list, and it was 3 songs shy. At least according to Setlist FM, it was 3 tracks shy of being the whole new album. So I was like, well, they cut 3 songs out of there, and then they played a bunch of hits. Does not appear to me to be part of Searching for America. This seems to be like a hometown show that they did to celebrate the release of the album. Oh, and I want to mention something in the vein of that. I want to thank John Schneck for something a couple weeks ago. So I've been trying to figure out, like, as much as I can about the history of all the Relient K shows I've been to. Mm-hmm. And when you go to, like, trademark.net or whatever it is, trademark,
yeah.
When you go to that website, they have a lot of tour dates and a lot of shows there, probably most of it. But I saw a handful of different Relient K shows that were not, like, properly promoted. Mm-hmm. Like, they were just in their van or whatever, and they just came through, and some promoter or a promoter of a friend of a promoter just was like, come play this show. The 3 weirdest ones, the ones that I cannot, the 3 weirdest ones that are like, there's no stuff about them online, is the one that I figured out because I DM'd a friend. It was the first time I ever saw them at the Salvation Army camp in Massachusetts, in Sharon, Massachusetts. That was super early. That was like 2001. So I got that one figured out. There's nothing online about that show. Another one I can't figure out is I saw Relient K headline a Battle of the Bands at some sort of college in Massachusetts. Mercury Switch, who were a New Hampshire hardcore metalcore band, local. I was kind of friends with them. They played second to last. It was the Battle of the Bands, then Mercury Switch, then Relient K. I know this was 2002 because when I went to talk to the members of Relient K who were hanging out afterwards, and this is an outside show, like on some sort of field by this school, On a Wire was the latest Get Up Kids album. So we were all talking about On a Wire, and we were like, and we were saying to them, like, oh, it's so much different. It's way more laid back. It's way slower than their previous sort of more emo pop punk stuff. I remember that whole conversation. Don't know anything. I don't know how I'm ever going to find out what show that was. I might have to DM someone from Mercury Switch to see if they can tell me more about that show. The last show, and this is all coming back to this Akron show I'm about to talk about. There was a show at the Axis in Boston, which Relient K played at a number of times, which I know John Warren was there. And it was the first time we'd ever seen John Warren play in the band. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out, was John Schneck there? And I just didn't take note of him being there. What I figured out, I actually I was like trying to figure this out forever. It's not on Trademark. It's not on the Trademark website. It wasn't part of a tour, basically. Long story short, what it turned out to be was they played a handful of shows for the release of was like just out or just about to come out. And Brian must have just left the band like right after the album was completed or something. and they were like, okay, they grabbed Warren. They're like, can you help? Can you fill in for Brian? We're going to play these handful of shows around the country, and they're just release shows. Schneck was not there. Schneck joined in 2005, and these shows were in 2004 when the album was new. I figured this all out because finally I like DM'd Schneck, and I'm like, could you help me out? I cannot figure this out. And then Schneck actually like contacted Warren and was like, do you remember playing the Axis in Boston, like possibly not part of a bigger tour? And Warren immediately said, yeah, we played a bunch of smaller shows around the country for the release of
Nice.
So thanks to John Schneck for helping me figure that out. When we can travel again, I literally want to go to the library and pull Boston Globe newspapers from that time and find. That's the only way I'm probably going to find the show is by finding it on like local concert calendars, because there was no big promotion for these shows. They just like sold out on their own. Point was, it looks like they did a similar thing to that show that I remember, where they played a show at the Musica in Akron and played most of the album.
Nice.
So here they are opening with Local Construction.
So what we're gonna do is play the new record, and then if you guys still are not super sleepy, maybe we can stick around and play some other stuff. Matt and I, we've been to shows before where a band just put out a record and they only play the new stuff, which is what we're gonna do for the next whatever minutes. But then we'll make a concession as far as that goes.
Someone requested Local Construction. That's totally like me requesting Breakdown before the second album was out.
So people know what this song is.
Yeah, it might no, the album must have been out by this point. Maybe the album was just out. I don't know. Hold on, let's see. Siri, when did the album Air for Free by Relient K come out? Oh, I don't have that information on the album Air for Free by Relient K. When did the album Air for Free by Relient K come out? There we go, July 22nd. Okay, so this is like 3-4 days after the album came out.
Oh, wow.
So someone was like, I love Local Construction, and they requested it, and that's literally what they're about to play.
This one's called Local Construction. The house, fix the flaws in myself, it's never done. It's never done.
Oh, you didn't let that whole guitar solo play out there. It's so good.
Darn, I already swiped it away. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's like Modest. It's it's like
I was gonna say how
like
you
Modest Mouse. It's like a poppy. It's like a poppy.
because I was gonna ask how you felt about the live version.
It's fine.
Because some songs, especially if they do have a lot going on, a lot of production, you might enjoy the raw sound of the live better. Like, that's how I feel about Air for Free. The song Air for Free is I prefer the live versions of that song because it doesn't have all that extra digital trickery going on.
Right. Or like Frampton. Like Peter Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive, man, that album. I used to put that on in the van, light up, and just go to another planet. Nobody played live like Pete. Like Petey Fram. That's what we called him. But yeah, it sounds nice live. It sounds fine. Yeah, I agree. Like, I guess it sounds more organic. Not that I would describe the album version of Local Construction as an organic. It's not like Empty House or Air for Free with the heavy, digital stuff added, but it still just doesn't. Hearing it with a live band does help me enjoy the song a little bit more.
For someone who really does not use weed at all, like ever, you've alluded to it like 3 times this episode.
Have I?
Yeah. And it's not even 420 yet. That's next month.
Oh yeah. Didn't the president say he's like, we're gonna get this quarantine over by 420? That should be a meme because he's saying about Easter.
I get it.
But that would be funny if he was saying it about 420.
It's one of our nation's greatest holidays.
We just got to get it over by May the 4th when we're doing May the Horse Be With You.
That's right.
So, that's the live track that I had to play. There's a bunch more. Now, I don't think that show, like I said, was part of Searching for America, but there's lots of Searching for America performances. There's Clifton, New Jersey, Des Moines, Wallington, Connecticut, Mohegan Sun Casino, and New York City. I'm sure there's a bunch of other like full Searching for America tour videos that people have put together. Like they taped the whole show. It's fine. Like it pretty much sounds like that. It's not like, like an Air for Free song. You pretty much just get like one version of the band playing it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not even Collapsible Lung. You can sometimes get multiple versions of the band playing that song. Mm-hmm. Like you can actually still find Ethan in the band online in YouTube videos playing Collapsible Lung songs, and then you get later versions of the band. But when it comes to Air for Free, pretty much hear one good version. That's how it's going to sound everywhere else on YouTube. So there is only one cover this week, and we have talked about this group before. This is Levy Marie Music. They do acoustic stuff outside. I don't remember what song we talked about them before, but they did a 4-panel multi-channel thing. They always seem to record outside. They're very earthy, very Reliant K, very mountaintop. And this is their cover of Local Construction, acoustic.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 2. Days rolling by like local construction. The cranes try to scrape some more sky before quitting time. Work on it, work at it, work, but it's never done. Days rolling by like local construction. I'm watching the tenements increase by increments. Work on it, work at it, work, but it's never done. No, no.
Fix the car,
Fix the house,
fix the flaws in myself. It's never done.
no, no, it's never done.
No, no, like local construction. It's never done.
Very pretty.
Very nice. I love their harmonies.
Yeah.
I don't remember what we talked about last time with them. It was something early. It was like Pressin' On or The One I'm Waiting For. It was one of those kind of songs. And I was not, like I said, they did they did 4 squares in the video, harmonized with themselves. Did not sound great that time. This time, just the two of them singing together, kind of making it a duet. Sounds really good. I really like that.
Plus this little girl in the background
Yeah,
kind of swaying and dancing around.
They're playing in like the middle of a field. It looks like landscaped, like it's probably
Like a park or something.
like a park, or maybe it's like back from their house,
Yeah.
like into a field that's not their property. And they're just the little girl's swaying in the back. It's really cute. Yeah, I like that. That helps me like the song a little bit more, to kind of strip it down, just like here's the bare melody. I like that. So I guess it really is just the instrumentation, although it sounds very professional, it does sound subjectively, whatever. It sounds good. It's just not, the album version isn't for me. So maybe I like the song a little bit better live. And then we have just 2 fan things. They're both fan music videos. This guy took like
It sounds like we're about to listen to Polaris. It sounds like we're going to start the
Adventures of Pete and Pete soundtrack. Yeah. This is Matthew G. Martin, 3 years ago, uploaded this video that is just a lyric video for Local Construction set to like 1960s like industrial film of construction sites. And it opens with the announcer from the footage.
Gotta tap into archive.org. Good
stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
Of yesterday, made into modern highways of today. Adventure and mystery around the corner. As we travel smoothly and swiftly along these broad highways, how many of us think of the work that goes into their construction?
So yeah, I like I like the piano. The piano's very nice.
It is.
Yeah. It's a good song. It just never it never tickled my fancy. The song just never tickled my fancy.
I'm gonna tickle your fancy.
Oh, okay. They have links to the original videos. Oh, one of them's been taken down.
Oh.
Because the YouTube account associated with this video was terminated. Well, all they did was upload 1960s footage of construction. And then, can you believe it? There is a literal music video for this.
What?
It's not quite like College Kids or what was the other, or the In Love with the 80s, or one of those songs where there's like hundreds of literal fan music videos.
Right.
But there's one literal fan music video where Aaron, his name is just Aaron, that's his YouTube name. 3 years ago, this is a fan-made music video for Relient K's song Local Construction. All footage is from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Wondering how we got some of these shots? Watch the behind-the-scenes vlog here. I did not notice that before. I do not own this song, only the footage used in creating this video. All rights go to the creators. This video has been monetized by the copyright owner. And then links to where to buy the song. Interesting. So it is just sort of like tone poem footage of like the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yep.
Some of these shots are kind of shaky and he does little zooms. And it's shooting from too far away, but then some of them are nice.
Oh my gosh, do you know what this reminds me of?
What?
That Fun Times in Cleveland.
Oh yeah, it absolutely looks like Fun Times in Cleveland again. So some of these...
Come on down to our Scooby-Doo warehouse or whatever. So good.
Who still uses a payphone. And this is where it gets literal. Then he says, fix the car. She has a car, fix the house. She shows a house. So anywhere he can show what's literally being sung, he connects that to it.
Nice.
Let's check out their behind the scenes. Oh, this video is private. Oh man, we can't check out the behind the scenes footage.
Bummer.
Well, that's everything for Local Construction. Local Construction may never end, but it seems like the fan videos and covers of it do end.
Local Construction may never end, but this podcast did, and possibly under an hour.
Wow, we haven't done that since Where Do I Go From Here?
Yeah.
It's a very good song. It's a good song, not a ton to talk about for me. Not a lot of videos, and there's a lot of stuff going on, so...
Yeah.
So, yeah, a short video. Is there a short episode? Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Just that we're going to release that first Patreon episode for free for everybody.
Yep. After we release this episode, a couple days later. And then you can check out our Patreon, which is patreon.com/SadieHawkinspod. You can email us at sadiehawkinspod@gmail.com. Our phone number is 402-95-SADIE, and check us out on Instagram and Twitter, both Sadie Hawkins Pod. Let us know how you're doing. We've been checking in with people as we think of them, and let us know if you have any covers of Relient K songs and stuff that you can send in. Oh, one cover we didn't find this week is John Savage and his band J.C. Keith. They're working on that Air for Free tribute album, which I'm sure will put the Princes of the Sun self-titled tribute album to shame. Because J.C. Keith had the teaser EP called Mountaintop.
Yeah, I was
wondering.
When we
did Mountaintop.
Yeah, I was wondering if they would.
I think they did. I can't remember right now, but the other song they had on that EP was Sleepin', or one of those.
Okay.
One of those songs that ends with IN or something. IN apostrophe.
Uh-huh.
But this song was not out yet.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Sleeping, running, bumming.
Yeah, it wasn't bumming. So it was running or sleeping.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll play that sometime when it comes out. So, yeah.
Stay safe, stay healthy.
Yes.
We'll catch you later.
We'll catch you later. With all this jackhammering in my head, forget my manners. Whoa!